Let's talk about this game, Baldy. Yeah, I know. I just didn't think you were in this part. But it's always great to have you, Ian. It's always great to have you. I love that you came over for Christmas last year when your family deserted you. Sorry I won't be here. I'm down in Philly this year covering that game. But let's get back to the game that we're talking about. The 49ers, if I was here, you would get one. 49ers, Ravens run games. Baldy, how are they so effective? I know that they do things in different ways to accomplish where they're trying to get to.
You know, Mike, on Christmas night, I'll probably have an ugly sweater like you're wearing today. I'll probably have that on, like all of America watching this game. And, you know, this is an analyst's dream, this game. And so they said, well, what part of this game do you want to break down? Well, the Ravens lead the league in rushing. And then San Francisco is third in rushing with the league's leading rusher by over 200 yards in Christian McCaffrey. When you strip it all down, McCaffrey runs 5 plays. Like they run the outside zone stretch right here. And really, it's up to him to decide where the daylight is. I call this the law of expanding angles. The more you stretch it, the bigger the holes get. And then, you know, if it's not that, then they're going to run their counter play where they're going to pull the backside guard and tangle. Aaron Banks here, Trent Williams, the trapper and the rapper, and McCaffrey's going to follow the all-pro Trent Williams into the promised land. And then they will run this as well. They'll run some form of toss out of some formation. This one just happens to be out of I formation. You strip it all down with all the motions and the shifts and the formations, they run 5 plays. And that's what the Ravens' task is to try to stop this and slow this down a little bit, knowing what you're going to get. And then the Ravens, Mike, they do it so different because Lamar you got to account for him as their leading rusher. It's a counter play. It's the pistol. It's misdirection. And, oh, by the way, last week, San Francisco played Arizona with Kyler Murray. They did give up 234 yards rushing. They struggle a little bit with some of those options that they're going to see from Mr. MVP himself, Lamar Jackson.
Well, Lamar Jackson for MVP would be a train that I would not hate jumping on. But, you know, as far as the run game goes, you know what I keep coming back to with the 49ers? I keep coming back to last year's trade of Christian McCaffrey, which they paid a lot. Everyone knows they paid a lot. And a lot of people thought it was too much. And now it's probably not enough because, I mean, they have a great run game. They've cycled through running backs, and it does seem like everyone is productive, but not as productive as that guy. And that really is the secret weapon. And then it's like Baltimore. It's like you could literally put anyone in there. I mean, they lose J.K. Dobbins, and then they lose Keaton Mitchell, and they still run the heck out of the ball. 2 unbelievably efficient systems with some pretty good players.
It's going to be fascinating to see these ground games get going or which defense can stop the other team's ground game from going. This Christmas night Super Bowl preview, who knows? For now, it is just a fantastic game. Enjoy it. Brian Baldinger, thank you very much, man. We appreciate it.
Merry Christmas, guys.
The Holiday Classic is back on NFL Network this Christmas Eve. Watch a special Sunday night of primetime football as the Patriots and Broncos light up the night. The NFL Holiday Classic Christmas Eve live at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network and streaming on NFL Plus. On the sidelines for this game, Sherry Burris and, James Palmer, baby.
But we get to talk to James Palmer first before he's working that game. James, thanks for being with us. Let's talk about the game you're going to be on, Patriots and Broncos. You and I were at the Patriots game, so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time talking about the Patriots. But while we were at the Patriots game, the Broncos were suffering a pretty sobering defeat. I mean, they got crushed by the Detroit Lions. They had been rolling. They were red hot. They looked like a certain wild card team, and that just stopped them in their tracks. Sean Payton was yelling at Russ, maybe not. Where are they now?
Well, let's start on the opposite side of the ball. We've talked about Russ a lot this week, Judy, and on the defensive side, that's what really they've hung their hat on, right? The way this defense turned the corner over the last several games, and then the Detroit Lions went out there and went up and down the field. What Vance Joseph wants his group to do in this game on Christmas Eve night is to make sure they win first and second down against an offense that we know has had their struggles this season. What they want to do is put Bailey Zappi in third and long situations. They know that that's to their advantage. That's where they have gotten to their quarterback. That's where they've gotten a lot of their pressure. That's where they've forced actually a lot of fumbles. They lead the NFL in forced fumbles. Now, what was different in this Lions game as opposed to the rest of the season is their pass rusher, Nick Bonito, missed this game with an MCL injury. Now he's rehabbing. He hasn't practiced this week, but he leads this team in sacks. He leads them in tackles for loss. He's really the guy, Judy, that gets the initial pressure up front that allows them to have these other blitzers come and make plays. The other part of it is Jonathan Cooper and Baron Browning are playing a boatload of snaps on the edge without Nick Benito as part of that rotation. That's something we're going to keep an eye on because it's looking like a long shot for Benito to play in this game.
All right, let's switch to the Browns-Texans game, which looks like it's going to be the backup bowl here. We're not going to have C.J. Stroud, and of course the Browns are on like their 100th quarterback of the season. Clearly, it is imperative for both of these teams to protect whichever quarterback is in the game. How are they going to do it?
Yeah, it's kind of like which offensive line against these two dominant defensive lines can hold up and allow their 35 or 38-year-old break in case of emergency glass quarterback to go out there and make some plays. And it's Myles Garrett against Laramie Tunsil is what I'm going to have my eye on. Obviously, that would be one of the most memorable matchups we'd like to see this weekend, but we know the way they move Myles Garrett around and try to find different matchups. What I also would like to see is with Kevin Stefanski lobbying Judy for Myles to get more holding calls. If that actually changes a little bit this week, we know how much he's double teamed. And then on the other side, I don't think Matt Burke is talked about enough because we know DeMeco Ryans is a great defensive coach, but he made a point to bring Matt Burke over with him to be his defensive coordinator. He has learned so much from Browns defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. And so what they do up front is really underrated. Jonathan Grenard is phenomenal, maybe one of the most underrated pass rushers in football with 12.5 sacks. Will Anderson Jr. looks like he's missing another game, but they're just so balanced up front, Judy. Look what they just did against Derrick Henry this past week. I mean, what do you have, 16 carries for 9 yards? They've been dominant against the run. They rush as a unit. When I talk to Matt Burke, the biggest aspect is they're so well coached up front. They always rush as a group, and they're very good in their run fits and their gap integrity. That's where they need to be strong up front, and we'll see which one of these quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, Case Keenum, can go out there and make some plays if they're protected properly.
You would think you're going to get a pretty serious dose of running out of the Texans, but that's certainly not an easy thing against the Browns defense. We know that the Browns defense is, I think it's the number one defense against the pass, and they're very good against the run too. So this is a tough one, especially without C.J. Stroud. James Palmer, we can't wait to watch you on the sidelines this weekend from Denver, and Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, Judy.
Family. Yeah, we look forward to it.